Welcome back! Oftentimes in DTT, the first couple of trials are used as probe trials, which means that the RBT will use least to most prompting to determine if the client needs prompts or not for a given response. You previously collected data on client responses during probe trials. Now it's time to discuss what the rest of the trials will look like. The RBT will continue teaching trials using these prompt levels, but remember that prompts should be temporary. The goal of teaching new skills is to have the client do them independently, without prompts. Therefore, for each target, the RBT will attempt to fade the prompt once it has resulted in correct responses from the client about 3 times consecutively. For example, if the client required a model prompt for touch pair on trials 3, 4, and 8, during the next trial that she ran the target, let's say trial 12, the RBT could attempt to fade the prompt to a less intrusive prompt. In this case, it would be an independent opportunity, since that is the next least intrusive. You would know that it is time to fade the prompt based on the data. For the target touch pair, we can see that the model prompt was effective 3 times consecutively, which means that on the next trial, we can try to fade to something less intrusive. If the client touched pair independently, you would circle a plus, and you would continue without prompts for the next time you ran touch pair as a target. It is important to know prompt fading criteria so that prompts aren't faded too quickly. For example, if the client required a model prompt for touch pair on trials 3 and 4, but then needed a more intrusive prompt, such as a partial physical prompt on the next opportunity, you would not attempt to fade the prompt, because the model prompt was not successful for 3 times consecutively. Rather, the next time you ran the target touch pair, you would see if the model prompt was effective, because that is what was effective at the probe level. Similarly, if you attempted to fade the model to an independent on trial 12, but the client did not engage in the correct response independently, you would go back to using a model prompt. Although fading prompts after about 3 successful trials is a general rule of thumb, it is not a hard and fast rule. You should check with your supervisor to determine their required prompt fading criteria. Now that we have gone over prompt fading, let's take a look at the rest of our teaching trials in action in the next video.